some Inyane Haggadah, the structure of the Haggadah. You might as well start from the beginning, and that is Kiddush, Kadesh. That's the first part of the Haggadah, and we'll discuss the difference between Kiddush Leil Pesach and the mitzvah of Kiddush all year round, every Friday night. So the Gemara tells us in Brachas in the 4th Perek, in Chav Zayin, Chav Ches, about Rav Soli Shel Shabbos Be'erev Shabbos. Rav basically made Shabbos early. This is the source of what we call early Shabbos. In fact, now that the clocks are changed, are they having an early minyan already?
Yeah. Yes.
So I always point out, every Shabbos you have to make an early Shabbos because it's a mitzvah min HaTorah of Tosefes Shabbos. And that's our minute, 18 minutes before we light the candles in Yerushalayim, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. There's a mitzvah min HaTorah. We'll discuss of making Shabbos early, whether it's winter or summer. But what we call colloquial early Shabbos, I don't see anyone making it at 3 o'clock on a Friday in the winter, which is probably a good thing, because then we could, Ramosha has a truth how we could get a cooler based on that. But if you're doing it for convenience, it's not necessarily binding on everyone else. But maybe we'll get to that another time. But so there's a mitzvah min HaTorah, or we'll discuss if it is min HaTorah, but there's a mitzvah of Tosefes Shabbos. The source actually that everyone agrees upon is the Gemara in Yuma of Tosefes Yom HaKippurim. That everyone agrees based on the Pasuk, because it talks about Yom Kippur, which is on the 10th, but the Pasuk says the 9th. So we learn out from there, besides one halacha, about whoever eats on the 9th of Tishrei, it's Ke'ilu you fast the 9th and 10th. But there's another halacha the Gemara learns out, that there's a mitzvah to begin Yom Kippur early, and also extend it a bit as well. That's the Gemara in BAYT talks about it as well, about the people who are eating towards the end, whether the discussion whether you should tell them, give them rebuke when they're doing something unintentionally. But the Gemara is clear, Tosefes Yom HaKippurim is a mitzvah min HaTorah. Everyone agrees to that, even the Rambam. What do I mean, even the Rambam? Because the Rambam makes no mention of Tosefes Shabbos or Tosefes Yom Tov. He's in denial of a Tosefes Shabbos, Tosefes Yom Tov, no mention. We'll come back to the Rambam in a minute. But what's the source of Tosefes Shabbos? So the Or Zarua and other Rishonim say Tosefes Shabbos is Doraisa. All year round, when we bring in Shabbos early, anytime you have to plug HaMincha, the Zman of Tosefes is a Zman min HaTorah. How do I know that? The Or Zarua says, because how did Rav make Shabbos early? Kiddush is a mitzvah min HaTorah. How much of Kiddush is min HaTorah? That's a separate share. But Kiddush is clearly min HaTorah. Zocher Shom HaShabbos L'Kadsho. So if Tosefes Shabbos is only D'Rabbanan, how could you fulfill a mitzvah min HaTorah of Kiddush during a Zman D'Rabbanan? It must be that Tosefes Shabbos is D'Oraisa. So the Arzaruah, the Kasha is the Teretz, and Tosefes Shabbos is D'Oraisa. Not too many hold. It's interesting, Mordechai in Megillah, which says maybe the Kasha is the Teretz in a different way. He says, I'll bring a raya from the fact that you can make Kiddush, which is a mitzvah min HaTorah, during Tosefes Shabbos, which is only a Zman D'Rabbanan. From here I can bring a raya that as someone who's only obligated Midrabbanan could be motzi someone who's chayav min HaTorah. We don't pass like this Mordechai, but the Mordechai and other Rishonim say it's no raya. It's a raya for something else, but it's not a raya that Tosefes Shabbos is D'Oraisa. It's a machlokas Rishonim whether Tosefes Shabbos is D'Oraisa or D'Rabbanan. Let me just point out, what about Tosefes Yom Tov? People have this erroneous impression that there is no Tosefes Yom Tov, and that's incorrect. There's no fundamental difference between Tosefes Shabbos and Tosefes Yom Tov. There are only some technical problems we have on certain Yom Tov, and we'll get to one, Leil Pesach, where it's the Leil Shavuos for other reasons, external reasons, Tamimas, that we don't want to bring in the Yom Tov until nightfall, but not because of it's not a chisaron in Tosefes Yom Tov. So really, it applies equally the halacha of Tosefes Shabbos, and that's why when it's a Shaila, let's say the 7th day of Pesach, other days where it's not an issue, you can bring in Yom Tov early. So the issue is, so there's no fundamental difference, only a pragmatic issue of Yom Tov. So we paskin, everyone paskin, so Tosefes Yom HaKippurim is D'Oraisa, it's a machlokas rishon, and we paskin Tosefes Shabbos and Yontiv is also deraisa, like the Arzura. That's how Rav made Kiddush early. Interesting, the Rambam makes no mention of the concept of Tosefes Shabbos. So all the first jump on the Rambam. How did Rav make Kiddush early then if there's no concept of Tosefes Shabbos? So the Rambam isn't bothered by it, because if you have to know the Rambam Shita by Kiddush, there's a fundamental machlokas, the Rambam and the Ramban, on what is the nature of the mitzvah of Kiddush. I'll get a separate share, but this briefly, the Rambam Shita is, it's a mitzvah of, it's a Zachar Shom HaShabbos L'Kadsho. So Rambam, the focus is on the Zachar, on the Zechira. There's a special mitzvah to give special mention of uniqueness of Shabbos. When is the mitzvah? Bechnisaso uv'yitziaso. In its entrance and in its exit. According to the Rambam, the mitzvah of Kiddush is before Shabbos. So it's not a kashan. Obviously you can't do it at 10 o'clock in the morning. You have to paga mincha, whatever samach Shabbos is. So the Rambam doesn't need Tosefes Shabbos. He says that's the mitzvah of Kiddush. And in theory, hypothetically, according to the Rambam, you could have Kiddush without it. It's a malach in theory. That's Rav Shlomo Zalman has a tshuva, something about a nursing home. I think it was even Pesach, about bringing it in early. Could he make Kiddush and then drive home afterwards? So it's a whole tshuva, but one of the nakudas are, if you hold like the Rambam, that you could talk about the question of making Kiddush and still getting into your car and driving. But according to the Ramban, it's Zachar Shom Shabbos L'Kadsho. The Ikra he compares it to Yovel. The Kiddashtem Eshnas, and therefore obviously you can only make Kiddush when it's the Zman Shabbos. So the Rambam sheet is, it's not a kasha, he doesn't have to hold from Tosefes Shabbos, because the mitzvah of making Kiddush is beforehand. So either way, whichever lamdish you want to do, the bottom line is Rav made Shabbos early, and there's a concept, whether you want to call it Tosefes Shabbos or not, you can make Kiddush early. So all year round, that's what we rely on, and especially now that we changed the clocks, people are going to be making Kiddush while it's daylight out. It's not even before sunset, and it's not a problem. Rav did it. If it's good enough for Rav, it's good enough for us. And you fulfill them as well. You fulfill the mitzvah in Torah Tosefes Shabbos anyway, even if you do it 18 minutes before. But you're extending the mitzvah of Tosefes Shabbos. You want bringing in Shabbos earlier, you do it after Plav. So that's Kiddush all year round, not a problem. We can make Kiddush after Plav HaMincha, which is an hour and a quarter before sunset. So on a 6 to 6 day, after 4:45, one can make Kiddush and bring in Shabbos. What about Kiddush Leil Pesach? Is that the same as all year round, or is Kiddush Leil Pesach different? So what is it? Why discriminate? The same way I can make Kiddush after Praga Mincha all year round, why not make Kiddush? And it's all about the kids' Pesach night. In fact, I want to bring it in early, because we want the kids to be up, at least for some of it, until they find the Afikomen or whatever they want to find. But at least it's by Pesach, we have a reason to bring it in early. Yet the Machaber Paskins in Shulchan Aruch, you can't make Kiddush ad shetechshach. The Rambam, the Machaber writes, Rabbi Yoseph Cairo, one cannot make Kiddush until nightfall. And the question is, why not? Manishtana layla zeh mikol leilos. Why by tomorrow night we'll make Kiddush early, but why not Leil Pesach? This is a right. So right, it's a Gzeira Shava of Tesva, and we'll get into that in a minute. Right. So that's the pashut, because Tesva, that's just the Gzeira Shava between Sukkot and Pesach. So why not? Yeah. So then that's not necessarily the source of why, but that's Sukkot and Pesach. We'll get to the source in a minute. It's a machlokas, the Magen Avraham and the Taz. And what's the pshat in the Machaber? Why is he discriminating against Leil Pesach? Why do we have to wait until nightfall? So the Magen Avraham writes, you know why? Because it's follows. We know there's a mitzvah of Karban Pesach on Pesach, as the name indicates. The Karban Pesach, that's when we eat it. And we do the Achana Erev Pesach. So when do we have to eat the Karban Pesach? So the pasuk is V'achlas habasar ba'layla hazeh. The pasuk says you have to eat the Karban Pesach at night. And as we all know, even though there was a discussion about the Karban Pesach more than any other Karban, and that's a separate share, Karbanas Bizman Hazeh, we're moving into Sefer Vayikra next week, it's a different topic. But whatever the reason why we don't bring a Karban today, we don't. So let's move on. And the Gemara tells us, the Gemara in Arvei Psachim, Daf Kuf Chaf, I believe, makes a hekish between Karban Pesach and Matzah. That's true, we don't eat the Karban Pesach today, but Matzah takes the place, and just like Karban Pesach had to be eaten at night, so too, the Matzah also has to be eaten at night. There's another pasuk by Matzah also, of Erev Tochu Matzos, but that's the Gemara in Psachim Kuf Chaf. Rashi has a bigger chiddush. He says, not only the Gemara compares achilas matzah to achilas karban pesach. This is like we eat the karban pesach and then you have the whole machokas chatzos or alos hashachar. So too by matzah you have to finish the afikomen by chatzos or not. But Rashi has a bigger chiddush. Not only the actual achila, but the hachana. Just like by the karban pesach, when do you begin for the hachanas for the karban pesach? Achar chatzos. Rashi Shita is, you start baking the matzahs. I don't know, I see matzahs in Sovies all over the place. Maybe they didn't know this Rashi, and the fact the Shulchan Aruch brings it down. That Rashi says you bake matzahs that on Erev Pesach after Chatzos. And in fact, the Shulchan Aruch brings it down, and I like to say if you could afford them, you should get them. Because if Shavura matzah, obviously lechem only isn't going on the price, it's going on the actual ingredients. Because if shmura matzah, I don't know what it is this year, $20, $25 a pound, I don't know, hand shmura. So try to get matzahs baked after chatzos, and maybe double, triple, I don't know, I never got them. But either way, the Shulchan Aruch says if you can, I mean, it's based on the Rashi, on Rishonim, so the Hasidim have basis for this chumrah, it's based on the Rishonim, and the Shulchan Aruch brings it down. So in Brooklyn and Montreal, where they have their own matzah factory, you have connections. Maybe you could get some. So either way, that's Rashi's chiddush. I mean, maybe they can. It'll be hard to get them here, unless maybe you send them federal. I don't know. You have to get. I guess in theory you can get them here, but it'll be hard if you don't. If I don't know, you can't. Do they not have a bakery? I don't know if they have. Do they make matzahs in Toronto? I don't even know. So, but either way, what? No. Right. Like commercially, or just for themselves?
Public or for? No. I think I've heard there are people baking.
Yeah, the major issue is baking matzahs after chatzos also. So in terms of bittul, that's a separate share. So either way, getting back here, so the Gemara tells us we have to eat the matzah balayla based on a hekish to karban pesach, and Rashi's own chiddush about even the hachana. And comes along the Magen Avraham, and the Magen Avraham says, Binat Torah, you have to eat the matzah and the karban pesach balayla. But Magen Avraham says, Midrabanan, the Chachamim called Tikkun D'Rabbanan Ka'ein D'Oraisa Tikkun. We pattern our mitzvahs D'Rabbanan after our mitzvahs Binat Torah. And the Magen Avraham says the Chiddush that not only do you have to eat the matzah during the Zman of the karban pesach, but all the mitzvahs halayla, the Daled Kosas, the 4 cups of wine, and all the mitzvahs saying the Hallel have to be done during the time of the karban pesach. So that's the Magen Avraham. The Magen Avraham says that, so the Magen, you know why? It's nothing to do with Kiddush. Really, you can make Kiddush early, even Leil Pesach. You know why you can't make Kiddush? You have to wait until nightfall, because it always happens that Kiddush is always the first cup of wine. And now it's the first cup of wine, one of the 4 cups, that has to be done by Laila. So since the first cup has to be done by Laila, inadvertently, Kiddush has to be done by Laila. It's not a din in Kiddush, it's a din of the 4 cups of wine, that all the mitzvahs are Laila. That's how the Magen Avraham says, that's the pshat in the Machaber, that out the first cup, out the Daled Kosas, that's why you have to wait until Laila. That's the Magen Avraham. The Taz says nothing doing. It's all about the Kiddush. It's not about the 4 cups like the Magen Avraham is saying. It's dafka about Kiddush is a major problem. Why should Kiddush be a problem tonight? It's not a problem tomorrow night. Why should it be a problem on Leil Pesach? So the Taz is a big Kiddush. So this isn't the Kiddush yet. This is the Gemara. I'll tell you when I get to its Kiddush. I'll tell you. The Gemara tells us the halacha of Kiddush b'makam suda. That might be a Kiddush of the Gemara, but the Gemara says that to fulfill your mitzvah of Kiddush, it has to be in the place where you're eating. Then you get into whether it be Drabana, Binat Torah, all the lumdis. But the bottom line is, for our purposes, you have to make Kiddush in the place where you eat. Comes along the Taz and says, not only does Kiddush b'makam suda mean that, but it means you need a Kiddush has to be made in the Zman, which is Rai L'Suda. have to be able, al pi halacha, to eat the meal. Now, I can't make kiddush at a time where I can't eat the meal. That is a chisaron, that's lacking in kiddush b'makam suda. So that's what the Taz says. You know why you have to wait until kiddush? You have to plag al mincha. No problem with kiddush per se, but matzah is the suda. You need kiddush b'makam suda, and since the Gemara tells us that you have to eat the matzah b'layla, hence I have to eat kiddush. But it's kiddush b'makam suda, so it will be a chisaron in kiddush, and that's why I have to wait b'layla. So it's a machlok, it's the Magen Avraham and the Taz on what's the pshat in the machal. Everyone agrees you have to wait until nighttime. The question is why. According to the Magen Avraham, because it's the first of the 4 cups, and the 4 cups have to be eaten at night. And according to the Taz, nothing to do with that. It's a chisaron in kiddush. You need kiddush b'makam suda. My nafkamina between them.
So during the regular Shabbos, the understanding then therefore is that it's not, the kiddush is not tied to the.
Like for you mean tomorrow night? You mean? Yeah.
The kiddush is not tied to the meal.
But I'm going to get to the Machokas Taz Marshal in a minute. Yeah, I'm going to actually show how the Taz is L'shitason in a minute.
The Taz will hold up.
Yeah, I'll get to that. Good point. I was going to get to that in a minute. Actually, I'll do that right now, then I'll get to Nafkamina. So there's what Leis is referring to, there's actually a couple of famous disputes between the Taz and the Marshal regarding Tosefes Shabbos or Tosefes Yentov. But the one very nogea to tomorrow night, so let's get to it right now, is the issue is, so Rav Soli Shel Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. We all know you can make Kiddush after Plag HaMincha. What about the Suda? Do I have to make sure that my Suda extends? It's usually not a problem, because the difference between a weekday Suda, 5 minutes, and a Shabbos is a couple of hours. You usually make it tonight, but let's say, do you have to? In other words, do I have to wait until it gets dark and eat another kazayas of bread? Is that, or no? That this like I can make, this like Rav Soli, Rav a Kiddush, or I can even finish my Suda. So that's a machlokas, the Taz and the Marshal. The Taz says you could do this, you could finish your Suda while it's broad daylight. And the Marshal says no, you have to have a kazayas of bread after. You can make Kiddush early and have your meal, but just at the end wait until nightfall and make sure you have another kazayas of challah. So the question is, what's in the Kudus HaMachlokes? What's the issue here between the Taz and Marshal about, so what is the nature of the din of Tosefes Shabbos? What does it mean when it's Tosef? What does it mean that you bring in Shabbos early tomorrow night? What does that mean exactly? Does it mean that actually when you bring in Shabbos, you walk out after Ma'ariv, it's broad daylight? Does that mean it's the next day already? We consider it al pi halacha like it's Shabbos? Or that's what I'm saying. It's Laila Kamacha Mamish. It's like Friday night already, even though physically it's not. Well, they say no. It's still Friday, but the Chiddush of Tosefes Shabbos is that I could do the mitzvahs Hayom, and there's an Issa Malacha perhaps, and I could do the mitzvahs Hayom, but it doesn't transform the day into the next day. I'll give you an afkamina. Rav Moshe has a famous tshuva by Sfiras Omer. It also comes up by Sfira all the time. You go to an early minyan after Pesach, and you forgot, you're ready, you daven Ma'ir, everything, and you remember, wait a second, I forgot last night, I didn't count Sfira Thursday night, meaning yesterday. So the question is, it too late? Could I count? Is it the next day or not? So according to the Taz, it's Macha Mamish. Whatever the halacha is, if you miss a day, that's it, we'll wait to Sfira to have a share on that. Whatever the halacha is, if you miss a complete day, what do you have to do? That's what you have to do. But according to the Marshal, not a problem. It's still day. So at least for this, Rav Moshe's make, at least in this regard, like the Marshal, that he says you could still count Sfiras HaOmer. You could count Sfiras HaOmer. So getting back, so that's the machlokas. The Taz holds Tosefes Shabbos transforms the day, and therefore that's it. It's Macha Mamish, and that's why I could eat. Of course, I could have my Suda. It's Shabbos. I'm not gaining anything by waiting any longer. And the Marshal says no. I guess the source of learning out Suda, Ichu Hayom Ki Shabbos Yom Hashem. Maybe Hayom Daska have to be on the Yom of Shabbos proper, not Tosefes. So the Marshal is Machmir that you should have a Kazayat Zachala after nightfall. So it's a fundamental machlokas how you view Tosefes Shabbos or not. And in fact, that's this. So perhaps we could say, and it seems to be obvious, that this Taz, these two Taz go together. They're hand in hand, or as they say, Lishi Tason. That can see why. How do the two Taz fit in? Because according to the Taz, you have to be able to eat the Suda after Praga Mincha. Because according to the Taz, if you couldn't eat the Suda before nightfall, you wouldn't be able to make Kiddush early. By definition, the Taz is Kiddush b'makam Suda, it has to be Railu. That's the problem with Kiddush Leil Pesach. If it was true every Shabbos, like Lace's question, so then the Taz would say you can't make, you'd have to wait until the fact that Taz says you can make Shabbos early. So we see, obviously, so the Marshal doesn't have to hold from the Kiddush. The Taz, only the Taz has to hold away. You can have other opinions that hold you can make Kiddush early, and it's still not that way because they don't have the Kiddush of the Taz that you need something right with Suda. So that's this Taz of Marshal has the same achlokas by, let's say, bringing in Shavuos early because you need Tamimis. So perhaps according to the Taz it's a problem because you're making Macha Mamish early. You're not getting the full Tamimis. According to the Marshal, it wouldn't be a problem to bring in Tosefes Shavuos early. And then perhaps you had the problem you have by Hoshana Rabbah going into Shmini Atzeres. According to the Taz, there's no problem. Sukkot is over, and then and now it's the new Chav. But according to the Marshal, what am I going to do? Am I going to make a Leisha by Sukkah? Is it Sukkah? So all these issues, it could be a Kul or a Chumrah depending, but those are the three places where they come up. This Machokas Taz and Marshal every Friday night. It comes up on Hoshana Rabbah leading into Shemini Atzeres, and it comes up the night before, Leil Shavuos. So this Taz is
So with this Taz, I mean, for Pesach, if we're going to say that the Taz said that he says Machar, that it's becomes the next day, then wouldn't the mitzvah of matzah? So
take it to the next step. Why not matzah?
Yeah. So let the matzah already be.
Okay, good question. It's a good question. So why not? If you take the Taz, so according to the Marshal, or according to the people who learn Tosefes Yantiv, this means that you're just allowed to do the mitzvahs Hayom, but it's not Laila, so therefore you could ask according to that sheet also. But why not? Why not Tosefes Shabbos? So in fact, there is a sheet that the Tosefes Harash in Brachas holds Leil Pesach is no different than all year round. He holds you could Bekabo Pesach after Praga Mincha, al Tosefes Shabbos Yantif, and you can do everything right after.
But so with the Taz.
Right, well, I'm saying, so clearly with the Taz we could discuss, right, so I didn't give you a reason why not yet, right, but according to the Taz, he clearly has the same lumdis or the Taz is the same lumdis of him. He's basically viewing Tosefes Shabbos as Macha Mamish, and that's what the Taz is working with. So perhaps, you'll have to say maybe according to the Taz, he does agree, but it's Pashas, Taz doesn't necessarily go against the Shulchan Aruch, so you have to say something else.
Would you extrapolate to the Taz and say, in Bisman Beis HaMikdash, you can eat the Korban Pesach early?
No, so I'm saying no, so therefore no, so that's what the Taz would say, it's a special Gzeres HaKasuv, V'achlos HaBasa B'layla Zeh, and the Gzeres, so Tosefes, out Tosefes Shabbos, and Yantiv, you're right, it's Macha Mamish, and I would be able to accept is a Gzeres HaKasuv that tells me matzah has to be done at night. So that's what the Taz would have to answer. In Achanami, that'd be the lump. The bottom line, everyone agrees you can't eat the matzah until night, but according to the Taz, you'll have to come up with a bigger lumdis that it's even though normally Tosefes Shabbos means it is Laila, but here you have a special pasuk, the Achos Abasa B'Laila Zeh, the Hekish overrides the general halacha of Tosefes. And even though it is Laila, apparently by Korban Pesach, it has to be Laila Mamish, meaning besides halachically Laila, it has to be, Laila as in dark outside.
So he would insist that the Kiddush has to be done at night also.
Right, that's for sure. That's what the Taz always says because of the Suda. That's the Taz's taina.
But you're saying the Taz of the Shitasa, I see that they actually contradict each other, because when it comes to matzah, he's saying that you should be able to wait, you have to wait until the nighttime.
What I mean, Shitasa is, that's the Kiddush B'Makam Suda, because by Leil Pesach, the halacha is based on the Gzeres HaKasuv, you have to eat the matzah b'layla, hence you can't make Kiddush early because it's lacking in Kiddush b'makam Suda, it's not Roila Suda. But on Friday night, when you don't have that Gzeres HaKasuv telling me I need the Suda Laila Mamish, so then the Taz was consistent with his view, Kiddush b'makam Suda, I can eat the Suda after Prague, make Kiddush, that's what I mean by he's consistent with his view.
Taz says that, that's for Chaim's explanation of the Taz.
What?
Does this Taz say that himself? Or
no, he doesn't.
I'm
not the two. the two Tazes people are putting together, the Taz isn't necessarily connecting the two Tazes. He doesn't, I don't think he refers you to my other Taz. I've heard people connect the two Taz in other words, it's not my own Kiddush connecting the two Taz, but I don't think the Taz himself like says an ayin maybe does, ayin there. It's two different people saying this Taz seems to fit in with that Taz. Okay, so what are you saying?
No, because if you just look at it at the way it's presented, it comes out that the Taz seems to argue with himself.
But why is it for which Nakuda?
Because by Pesach he's saying that you have to wait until the nighttime, and when it comes to Shabbos, yes, so the point is that
no, but it's not,
that Kiddush b'makom Suda becomes the principle that is consistent. True. But if you're going to say the idea that it's Laila Mamish, that question doesn't fall off.
No, it does, because
then everything stays...
No, that's what you have to say. Dafka the Gzeres HaKosav Achos Abasa B'Laila Zeh is teaching me to the exclusion of Tosefes Shabbos.
Oh, okay.
That's how you have to learn it. That's what you have to say the Taz. That's why,
so it overrides.
And it fits in perfectly with the Taz. If not for the pasuk, I'd have the Tosefes Harash, and we'd be doing. I guess that's not. We don't. The Mechaber doesn't even bring down the Tosefes Harash, but again, it's another sniff to be makel for nursing homes or older people or sick people who can't stay up that late, especially after the. That's why in Israel I think they changed the clock after Pesach, but at least we changed it after Purim this year. So Tiny Sester was a little shorter, but we're getting there. The Canadian government's coming around, and we'll try to work it into OHIP and stuff. But either way, so that's the point here. So that's what I mean. The Taz is consistent with his view. So my nafkamina between the Magen Avraham and Taz. Either way, you have to wait, unless it's a real makam sarach. You have to wait until Laila to make the kiddush. Either according to the Magen Avraham, it's the first cup, or according to kiddush. So my nafkamina. So perhaps the nafkamina between the Magen Avraham and Taz is, let's say I made kiddush early. I wasn't at the shiur tonight. I didn't know the machaber. I'm making kiddush early every Friday night. Why not Leal Pesach? And someone shows you the Shulchan Aruch that you have to wait. Okay, so you made kiddush. Now what? So do you have to make another kiddush? So according to the Magen Avraham, you don't take kiddush, or because you can make. According to the Magen, there's no problem making kiddush early Leal Pesach. It's a chisaron in the Dalit Kosos. So you'd have to drink another cup. Either make another bracha or not. You'll have to drink another cup to have 4 cups after nightfall, but you wouldn't necessarily have to. Again, you get into what's Kiddush Makam Suda that, but assuming there's no other technical problems, you wouldn't necessarily have, in theory anyway, you wouldn't have to make another Kiddush. But according to the Taz, it's all about Kiddush. You'd have to make another Kiddush. It's a meaningless Kiddush, you're not Yotzei, and you have to make another Kiddush again. So that's a kula for the Magen Avraham, a chumrah for the Taz. But on the other end of the scale, we have the opposite. So according to the Magen Avraham, it comes out,
the Taz would say that the Gzeres HaKosav is B'di'evet.
That which Gzeres HaKosav?
Gzeres HaKosav is really for the Korban Pesach, not for Kiddush, right? You're extending it to Kiddush.
So he's saying we have halacha. The Kiddush b'makam Suda is he's holding,
Oh, it's not b'makam Suda.
Right. That's what he's saying. Not be right. That's not touching it. No, so Kiddush is just the Kiddush b'makam Suda happens to mess him up, but it's nothing to do. It's only because he's not making that drasha from the Kiddush. It's based on the halacha of Kiddush b'makam Suda. Again, then maybe it's assuming Kiddush b'makam Suda is the right, so we could get into that discussion. On the other end, do I have to drink all 4 cups by Chatzos? According to the Magen Avraham, yes. You have to finish your whole SEDER by Chatzos because it's a din of the mitzvahs halayla. So this you have to begin it at night. So the machok is whether Chatzos or Alos HaShachar. Not only the Afikomen, the Dalit Kosas and Hala. In fact, Rav Shechter always likes saying over, I guess, when his kids went to Breuer's, that's the school in Washington Heights, right where he lives. So, I know some adults that do it, but kids always, when they come back the next day in shul, my Seder went to 12 o'clock, mine went to 1 o'clock, mine went to 3 o'clock, and Rav Shechter's kids, mine ended at 11 o'clock, or I'm just making up whatever, because Rav Shechter was makbid for the sheet to the Magen Avraham. You have to finish your Seder, or you can sing Chagajo all night if you want, but the halachic part of the Seder has to be finished by Chatzos, not just the Afikomen, and that's working with the Magen Avraham. According to the Taz, you don't have to finish. It's only a din in the Afikomen, the Matzah, but the Dalit Kosas isn't an issue. Again, that's a kul and a chumrah, depending, on which side of the Taz and the Magen Avraham you take.
You don't have a difference of 2 minutes.
But what do you mean 2 minutes?
The last part is the Afikomen, and the last coast.
Well, you have Hallel and stuff.
Oh, you can't even do Hallel?
No, he says.
Wait, Hallel is
you have
the
to.
coast, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
the
then,
halachic part of.
yeah, then you have the third and fourth cup you have to finish. There's still right. It's not that much, as we all know. When it definitely in time wise, once you get it after the meal, it seems to say the Haggadah seems to move much quicker towards the second end. For many reasons. So that's one. So one major nafka mina between Kiddush Leil Shabbos and Kiddush Leil Pesach is Kiddush Leil Shabbos, bring it on early like we're going to do tomorrow. But Kiddush Leil Pesach, you have to wait until nightfall. Another nafka mina between Kiddush Leil Pesach and Kiddush Leil Shabbos is.
Sorry, what about the Rambam? What was the Rambam? Rambam normally says you want the B'daf to make Kiddush earlier, right?
Yeah. So
did you cover that already?
Yeah, I touched the Rambam. That's in terms of on Kiddush Shabbos.
Right.
So that's why we.
What would he say on Yom Tov?
No, so he's saying he would also, in terms of Yom Tov also, but it's a technical reason why according, whether he'd hold like the Magen Avraham or the Taz, we could see, whichever lumdis he'd have to wait. In other words, in terms of Kiddush, you're right. Normally the Rambam sheet says you can make Kiddush before Shabbat, you bring it in before, yeah.
Even that you should.
Yeah, so then the question is either it's whether he goes with the Taz, it's Kiddush or Kiddush and Malkam Sudo, or maybe he holds the Magen Avram's reason out to Dawud Koshes you have to wait.
Do we know for sure that he holds? Does he say that on Pesach is different? That you don't do it earlier?
Yeah, I assume. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure. I have to see it, but I'm pretty sure he says you have to wait until because the Mechaber usually goes with the Rambam, so he's probably quoting the Rambam. Yeah, but so another nafka mina would be is who has to drink the cup. So who has to drink the cup? Well, tomorrow night we're going to make Kiddush. Who has to drink from the cup of wine? So the Gemara tells us in Erevin, Hamivarech Sarech Sheyitom. The one who makes Kiddush, he's the one who has to drink. And so really there are 3 levels. Ideally, the one who makes the Kiddush should drink the requisite amount of wine. We'll get into what the requisite amount is. And then the second level is if he can't drink the whole amount, then you give shot glasses out to everyone, Kiddush cups, and shtiyas kula mistarfen. And if everyone together at the table adds up. And thirdly, if he can't drink at all, you should at least give to one person there that one person should drink the rov revias, whatever the requisite amount, and then the rest. So either way, but the point being is, just the person me'ikar adin, just the person making Kiddush has to drink. No one to fulfill your mitzvah of Kiddush tomorrow night, you don't have to drink any wine unless you're the one making the Kiddush. And so only one person has to drink the wine. Let's assume the person making the Kiddush, he has to drink. Everyone else can watch him and listen, and you get your mitzvah of Kiddush. You don't have to drink. So Me'ikar Adin, you don't have to drink from the cup of Kiddush all year round. Shabbos morning is a brisk chumrah that maybe people should drink from the cup of wine, because maybe it's just a birkas hanenim. But Me'ikar Adin, you probably don't have to drink from the Kiddush cup. If you're going to take one, you can take the everyone usually takes from both, but Shabbos morning is what more to discuss on, but Me'ikar Adin, you don't have to probably either Shabbos morning. But Friday night, certainly you don't have to drink. You could just watch someone else drink the wine for you. That works. Shomea Kahuna. So what about Kiddush Leil Pesach? So again, Manish Tana, why should there be a difference? The same way it works every Friday night, the head of the household makes Kiddush. So too, right? That's the way it works Pesach, right? One person makes the Kiddush and he drinks and everyone else watches. Yet that's not the way it works. Everyone seems to have their own cup of wine. Well, so we'll get to that. So what Abrakosis on who? So that's what Tosas says. Tosas says what I'm saying now. First he says Ksas Raya from the Lashon HaMishnah. In Arvei Psachim it says Will Yifzachu Lo Me Abrakosis. It says it in singular that even the Ani, it doesn't say about the Ani's family, he has to make sure he doesn't have he has four, implying that only he has to drink. And Tosfos says it's very logical, because my shna kiddush kol hashana mi kiddush le'al Pesach. Why should I? There's no fundamental difference between the kiddush le'al Pesach. So that, in fact, Tosfos says it. In fact, this Tosfos really rejected at the end, but we'll call it. Everyone likes calling it Tosfos sheet, that at least you could have two. You could have a sheet today. At the end of the day, it looks like he rejects it, but we'll call it Tosfos sheet anyway. That's what in all the Sfarim they say it's Tosfos sheet. So we'll go. It's the Havamin of Tosfos, but either way, Tosfos does give in the beginning of Tosfos. He says this. So Tosfos says there's no different, and he says that's it. We all like to follow Tosfos. One person makes the kiddush. One person drinks the 4 cups. Everyone listens, and that's it. You don't have to drink 4 cups of wine. The chiyuv is only on the balabas. That's the sheet of Tosfos. The Rambam disagrees, and the Rambam writes everybody has to drink. Everyone agrees you can listen to the kiddush and listen to the bracha. That's Shomei Kohen. There's no argument on that part. But on the actual drinking, the Rambam sheet is everybody. It's not enough. You can't watch me drink. You got to drink yourself. Everyone has to drink their own cup of wine. So there's a fundamental machlokas, the Rambam and the Bali Tosfos on Leal Pesach, whether everyone has to drink or just the head of the household. What's the Nakudas HaMachlokas? What's the issue? Why does the Rambam say everyone? Why does Tosfos say the Balabas? So the Brisker Rav explains and others the fundamental. How do we view the Chiyuv of Dalit Kosas? So we're brainwashed by the Rambam because we know, because that's what we always drink. What is the Bali Tosfos sheet to hold? That basically it's the same chiyuv as kiddush all year. Kiddush is basically, it's a chovas bracha. The basic chiyuv is askara ala kos. Once you make the bracha, you have to drink, but drinking is coincidental. The ikar chiyuv of kiddush and the Dalit Kosas is, Chazal said in 4 places in the Haggadah, we want you to make a bracha ala kos in these different areas. But the basic chiyuv is a chovas bracha. Once you say bo b'agafen, you got to drink, but that's incidental. The ikar is the bracha. And the Rambam clearly argues and says, what are you talking about? It's a chovas shtiya. So therefore, it's Roshitasan. Tosfos holds, that's why Kiddush Leal Pesach is the same as Kiddush all year round, because he holds it's a chovas bracha, and Shomei Ka'ona works. Just like it works all year round, it works Leal Pesach, and one person can do everything. But the Rambam sheet
can't possibly hold it to chovas bracha.
What?
Because
who can?
Because the Rambam, because the Sfarim don't make 4 brachas.
Okay. And the Rambam, exactly. The Rambam holds it's a chovas shtiya, it's a chovas to drink 4 brachas. And how do we know? As Joel just said, because many people don't know. Again, among Sfardim, you always have different minhagim. But I guess the true minhag Sfard, or whatever you want to call it, they don't make 4 brachas. They have 4 cups of wine, but they only make 2 brachas. What have to do? What do you mean? They drink. You mean, isn't it Gemara saying in brachas kohanene below bracha gilma? What do you mean? No. So they're actually right. Midini hefsek, they seem to have it right. Really, why are we making 4 brachas? In other words, midini hefsek, the bracha you made at the beginning of the meal covers until that. After you bench, you have a new bracha. The question is on us Ashkenaz. So obviously, midini hefsek, we don't need it. Why do it? It must be like the Brisker Rav is saying. It's an independent mitzvah. There's a chovas bracha. Chazal set up in the 4 places, not just to drink, but to make a bracha, bori priya gafens. So we actually, I think, the way I'm explaining it, we go with chumrah. In other words, we're basically taking Tosfos and the Rambam and we're combining them together, because we make the brachas and we drink. So we're combining both the shittas and Tosfos, and so we're going with the Rambam that everyone has a chova to drink. But we're going with the Bali, we being Bnei Ashkenaz, but we make 4 brachas. So therefore, we combine both the shittas of the Rambam and the Bali Tosfos, and we make 4 brachas, and we have to drink. So that's a fundamental. So that's at least according to the Rambam, and then we pass like the Rambam, at least in terms of the drinking. And therefore, we have a second nafkamina between Leal Pesach and Leal Shabbos. Leal Shabbos, no one has to drink except the person making the kiddush. But we pass like the Rambam. Leal Pesach, you're out of luck or you're in luck, depending on your view on drinking. You have a chova to see. Now you have an excuse you have to drink. What you have to drink, that'll be next week. We'll get into. That's one. That's the second. I'll do one more. Third nafkamina is as follows. It ties into this one. There's another machlokas Tosfos in the Rambam, and the question is how much do you have to drink? So let's start Friday night. So you make kiddush. How much do you have to drink? So the halacha is the cup has to hold the revius of wine. So again, revius of wine can be from anywhere from 3.3 ounces to 4.2. So on a mitzvah in Torah we're usually strict, on a mitzvah d'Rabbanan we're lenient. But the cup has to minimally hold the revius. How much do I have to drink of the revius? So Tosus writes, and we pass in this way, you have to drink rov revius. 51% of a revius. So whether the cup is 25 ounces big, whether the cup is 10 ounces or just 4.2 ounces, I only have to drink 51% of let's assume 4.2. Shabbos Daraisa, let's assume a revius is 4.2. So no matter how big the cup size is irrelevant, unless it's less than a revius, then you have a problem. Assuming it's more than a revius, whether it's a 10-ounce cup, 15-ounce cup, it doesn't make a difference. You only have to drink 51% of the 4.2 ounces. According to the Ramban, Nechmanides, you have to be careful. The Ramban writes you have to drink rov kos. So therefore, we don't pass like the Ramban, but according to the Ramban, even Friday night you have to drink rov kos. We don't pass in. So we pass in all year round. All you have to drink is rov revius, not a lot, a little more, 51% of 4.2 ounces or less.
You consider the Friday night drinking of the wine to be a deraisa?
Let's
assume that the kiddush is deraisa.
Yeah, so that's the three shitas in the Rishonim. According to the Rambam, kiddush b'dvarim is deraisa alone. That's ended deraisa. Then you have the Balitos. You have Rashi and Nazir. It's not really Rashi, but the Gemara talks about what does a Nazir do for kiddush. That's the Gemara's kasha at the beginning of Nazir. So the Gemara has a very cryptic language, something about, what about Kiddusha v'Havdalah mitzvah? So it's a kasha machokas Rashi. How you learn the Gemara, is that a tiyufta? Like in other words, so according to the way Rashi learns over there, that no, it's mushba b'omei, that since drinking the wine is min Torah. So what do you mean? Of course the Nazir has to drink the Kiddush because it's Mushba, and others learn the Gemara, it's a kasha on that because, so there are three shitas. Either you have Rashi that even drinking the wine is deraisa, you have the Balitosis, Kiddush over a cup of wine is deraisa, but you don't have to actually drink the wine, and you have the Rambam, this Kiddush b'dvarim is deraisa. So you have, depending on which shita we go with.
Practice.
So
because you started saying that let's say Friday night kiddush.
No, so in general we assume we generally go with the Rambam that the kiddush but right. So then we're just right. So we're just generally will machmir. You're right. If depending because I'll tell you why because even because the question is when we're fulfilling our mitzvah of kiddush min Torah. So again, so even though the actual drinking of the wine or not. But maybe
out. You have a subject already.
No,
at best.
Yeah, but maybe out to revius. How big it has to be, right, in terms of drink.
There's also the question of how it's always gozer, and that you're actually mekayim the kiddush.
Yeah,
on the wine.
That's the that's the Pri Megaddin. You're the one that they always quoted to you in the area. The Pri Megaddin sheet you said we always pass him like, but the Pri Megaddin he says. That Dafka, once Chazal, it's true Minat Torah was that way, but once Chazal do it on a run, going to even to Minat Torah, you have to. So that's what. So either, but whichever lamdish you want to get, but that's what was the Pri Megaddin. We could say that. So that's Kiddush Leil Shabbos. What about Kiddush Leil Pesach? So Tosas would say the same thing. Rov revius. So you had the same halacha of Shabbos. You just have to drink rov revius. The Rambam sheet you have a chovas kos, you have to drink 4 cups. So l'chadchila you got to drink the whole cup. But b'diavad ruba kakula, the majority is considered everything, and therefore the Brisker Russell is l'shitason. According to Tosas, who holds the chiyavan leil Pesach is a chovas bracha like it is leil Shabbos. So the same halachas of kiddush that apply all year round apply to leil Pesach. According to the Rambam. It's a chovas shtias kos, so if it's a din in the kos, I got to drink a kos. Really, preferably the whole kos, but at least b'diavad, or not b'diavad, but minimally, ruba kakos, at least 51% of it. That's why I want us to be careful, leil Pesach, that you shouldn't have such a big cup. What I mean is the cup should be big enough, but the problem is, if you have a 20-ounce mug, leil Pesach, you're going to have, a potential problem. I don't know how you hold your liquor and stuff. Again, that gets into whether you have to use wine. We'll get into that next week, wine or grape juice. But assuming like you have to use wine, you might have a major issue. Even drinking that much grape juice, you're going to get sick. But like one of the rabbis had a headache until Shavuos. But in terms, what? But in terms, so therefore we'll have to get. So therefore, once you be careful, you should try to get a cup just the size of Revias. Not too big, because lichatchila you want to drink the whole cup. So it's reasonable if you get to 4.2 ounces in that range. And usually you don't have to even worry this year because Kiddush is Friday night. So you'll maybe be machmir on the first cup, but the other three you don't have to be machmir. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, you can change cups, I guess, but you're going to have the same revias for the first cup. But you got, I guess in theory you could change cups. But the Friday night, this is more of an issue to be machmir because it's Friday night and Kiddush could be daraisa. But that's the cups. So one should be careful. You should have a reasonable amount size cup because you don't want to have too big because you have to at least drink Rov Kos. And Rov Kos on a 30-ounce beer mug, might be a little challenging drinking it and then actually conducting the Seder at the same time. So just to summarize, so we had the differences between Kiddush Leil Shabbos and Kiddush Leil Pesach. And so far we've begun, there's a lot more where that this came from. We'll continue next week. But the first one was the Zman. Tomorrow night we're going to bring in Shabbos early and even very early because you could bring Rav Sosho Shabbos, Be'erev Shabbos. You could bring in Kiddush early, and Machlokas or Zaru and others whether the Zaru says that's what we learn out the source of Tosefah Shabbos being the Raisa. The fact we can make Kiddush during this time and Kiddush is the Raisa, it shows Tosefah Shabbos is the Raisa. The Mordechai comes to the opposite conclusion. Tosefah Shabbos is only D'Rabbanan, and since you can do Kiddush, which is a Deraisa during its man D'Rabbanan, that means that Chiyuv D'Rabbanan can be mostly a Deraisa. We don't pass him that way, but that's the Mordechai and Megillah. And the Rambam doesn't have Tosefah Shabbos; he doesn't need it because he's holds the mitzvah of Kiddush is to do it before Shabbos. So we brought down by Kiddush, we bring it in early. Pesach, we're against Leil Pesach. We have to wait until nightfall, either according to the Magen Avraham, because it's one of the first cups. It's a din of extension of the halacha of matzah and korban Pesach. According to the Taz, it's Kiddush b'makam Suda. You can't eat the Suda until night. You can't make Kiddush. And we said that fits in with the Taz tomorrow night. That you can eat, since by Shabbos you can eat the Suda during the day. That's why the Taz holds you can make Kiddush. Kiddush b'makam Suda. The fact that the Taz says you can make Kiddush early, on Friday, Rav says it, so obviously you have to conclude you can also have the Suda. The Marshal says you have to eat the Suda later, so Mikra Adin, you could be Yotze even if you finish before. It can't hurt to have another Kizayas of Challah. Most of the time you're having the meal anyway going late, so just have another Kizayas. It's better, easier than having another Kizayas of Matzah. Challah is usually tastes better. And then that's the Machlokas Magen Avraham and Taz, and the Nafkamina comes with a Kul and a Chumr. If you made Kiddush early, according to the Magen Avraham, it's okay. Just drink another cup of wine. According to the Taz, you got to repeat Kiddush. But on the other side, like Rav Shachter's Machlo, like the Magen Avraham, you got to finish everything by Chatzos. The second, we have 2 cups of wine, halal, etc. According to the Taz, it's not an issue. And we had the other, and then we had the other Nafkamina, not only in the Zman, but who drinks it all year round, as long as one person makes the Kiddush, everyone else listens. It's good enough. But Leil Pesach, it's a Machlokas, the Rambam and Tosfos, and our meaning is, we combine both, the Machlokas, Rambam and Tosfos, whether it's a Chovas Shtiyah, Chovas Bracha, we take both because we make 4 brachas and we drink, so we go both with Tosfos. So that's the second nafkamina is that everyone has to drink, and thirdly, how much we have to drink. It's enough just to drink the majority of 4.2 on Friday night. It doesn't make a difference the size of your cup, but on Pesach we go with the Rambam, it's a Chovetz Kos, and therefore you have to at least drink the majority of the Kos, preferably the whole Kos, and therefore make sure your cup's not too big so you'll be able to finish all Dalet Kosos.